Hey now, what's going on, y'all? It is Lady Vasori, and if you clicked on this video, it's because you know what time it is. We're about to talk about one of the most misunderstood names in spiritual history, Jezebel. Now, y'all, the name alone stirs up all kinds of feelings. Some folks think seduction, others hear scandal and intrigue, and some get straight up uncomfortable when they hear the word Jezebel. And that's exactly why I put up a community poll this week. I asked y'all, when you hear the name Jezebel, what energy comes to mind first? Here's how y'all voted. 40% said seduction and beauty. 25% said disrespect and shame. 20% said sacred feminine mystery. And only 15% said power and dominance. Now, baby, when I saw that, I already knew we needed to talk, okay? Because her name been whispered like it's a curse for centuries. But was it really? Or was she just too powerful for the world she lived in? Let's talk about Jezebel.
Hello riders, hello, how are you? And welcome to my channel. This is Lady Vasori, and let's get ready for the ride. Now don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. Who was Jezebel really? Let's talk about that first so you guys can get caught up on what that Jezebel word means. Jezebel was actually a Phoenician princess. She was royal. She was educated. She was politically connected, y'all. She married King Ahab of Israel, not as a submissive accessory like most women, but as a strategic power move. And this woman brought her culture. She brought her gods, her confidence into a land that wasn't really ready for her fire. Now, she worshiped Baal, one of the oldest fertility gods in the region. She didn't hide it. No, ma'am. She didn't apologize for it. She brought her altars. She supported her priest. And when the prophets of Israel came for her beliefs, when I tell y'all she stood 10 toes down in what she believed in. Now, let's not get it twisted. Jezebel wasn't perfect at all. She moved with strategy and sometimes with ruthlessness. But so did a whole lot of men in that same Bible. And nobody turned their names into curses, right? So why her? Now, because she was a woman with influence, a queen with her own spiritual order, and a leader who didn't bow just to fit in, that made her dangerous. All right, so let's tell the truth, y'all. Religion didn't just write Jezebel's story. They rewrote it. They took a queen and turned her into what we call a warning, a tool, a scare tactic, especially against women who move with power. Okay, see, Jezebel's legacy wasn't destroyed when she died. It was destroyed in the retelling of her. You know, she was thrown from a window, y'all, trampled, eaten by dogs. And after that, her name got dragged through every pulpit, revival tent, and purity circle for generations. To this day, women, especially black women, are called Jezebels just for being bold, for grinding your hips, for being sensual, outspoken, or simply a wild woman who is free. Not Bathsheba, not Delilah, not even Eve, always Jezebel. So because Jezebel don't just represent lust, she represents what they couldn't control. And what they couldn't control, they had to curse. So when y'all see the top word that comes to mind is seduction and beauty, I understood. Because that's how we've been taught to view her. And when 25% said disrespect and shame, that's inherited judgment, whether y'all know it about or not. Yes, But baby, what shook me most was only 15% saw her as a power in dominance. And that right there tells me we still sometimes are scared to name our own divinity. Because if Jezebel was so weak, they wouldn't have killed her like that. If her energy wasn't dangerous to the patriarchy, they wouldn't still be using her as a caution sign for any girl who grows up too loud or too proud or too visible. You don't make a whole archetype out of someone unless their shadow still haunts the structure. And y'all know what the structure is, the Bible, okay? Now let's talk about how Jezebel shows up in spirituality. Let's talk about that. Now let's bring this into hoodoo and spirituality, okay? Because Jezebel's energy didn't stop at the Bible, we work with what's known as Jezebel root, also called Or's root or Queen Elizabeth root at times. This root carries her essence, commanding her presence, magnetism in love and courtship, influence over powerful people, domination in court cases, financial favor, and business negotiations. Guys, I do have Jezebel root available in the shop if you want to work it for yourself. You want to be remembered in a room you haven't even walked in? Pull on Jezebel energy. But let me say this with clarity. We're not worshiping Jezebel. Never that. We're working with the archetype of the woman who refuses to shrink. Okay? We reclaim what they tried to bury. Because in root work, we know the thing they demonize often holds the deepest power. Okay? Sex, sensuality, a woman of power, that. So let me ask you again. Was Jezebel the curse or was she the key? Did she sin or did she shine too loud for their system? I believe that she was born too early. She had it, okay? Because what they call rebellion might have actually been sovereignty. What they label lust, like they always do, might have been liberation, y'all. And what they feared in her might be the very thing you need to walk in today. So if you're a woman with fire, you're walking in your wild woman essence. If you carry sacred sensuality, power, voice, and a refusal to be silent, let me tell you, that ain't shame, that's sacred, baby. That's Jezebel energy. That's Jezebel energy, okay? That was a queen in her own right. She was a queen. Yeah, no shame in her game. And how she was put to death was very sad. They threw her out of a window to be ravaged by dogs. Okay? Because her power was, she was pulling the people to Baal. She was pulling the people to what she, her religion and what she honored. And they didn't like that. Okay? She had a lot of pull to be a woman. All right, so that is Jezebel, y'all. This is the poll that y'all polled. I love it. This is Lady Vasori. I don't want to run from names like Jezebel. Never. I study them. I honor them. And if necessary, I conjure with the spirit behind them. Again, y'all, I do sell Jezebel root in my shop. Readily and heavily available. Work the roots. Work that roots. Okay? Now go on, but don't forget what you heard in this session, in this poll. Y'all have an amazing rest of y'all day. Go back to the community and like some more polls, y'all. If I get 10 votes, I'm going to come back, at least 10. I'm going to come back and talk about what the poll was about and give y'all some deep insight of what's going on and what I've learned and what I know to be so. Y'all have an amazing rest of y'all day. Again, work that Jezebel energy. Peace and blessings. Bye.